Good evening and thanks for joining us for 23 ABC News at 5. I'm Bayan Wang. Jessica Harrington has the night off. Tonight's top stories: the Kern County Elections Office admits that information is missing from voter guides. What officials are saying is missing. Plus, the Arvin police chief set to step down from his position after being charged with a misdemeanor. Details on what he's being accused of doing. 23 ABC News at 5 starts right now.
Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
It's a story that 23 ABC started following very closely several weeks ago after we discovered there was missing information on the county's elections website. At that time, we also found out that voter guides had not been sent out. And now, just 4 days away from the primary, another discrepancy is coming to light from the elections department. Tonight, officials are admitting they left out key information in your voter guide regarding both Republican and Democratic candidates. 23 ABC's Tori Cooper spoke to the county elections department and the California Secretary of State about this latest development. She joins us with what officials are doing to solve these issues. Tori.
Yes, election officials dropped another bombshell announcement today when they announced they discovered that they left out the list of vital party endorsements on your voter guide after not returning several of our emails and calls to the county elections department.
But no, I would not say that the issues that were being raised were even problems, to be perfectly honest, so no.
That was Registrar of Voters Mary Bedard this week, claiming the elections department has been running smoothly.
Already geared up, all the preliminary work is done. We've got the poll places, we've got poll workers recruited and trained.
Nearly 3 weeks ago, 23 ABC reported issues with the county elections website not displaying any key information surrounding local ballot measures.
Our website is not ADA accessible.
After our story, 23 ABC News learned local voter guides and sample ballots were sent out. But Friday, the elections department announced those voter guides were sent without party endorsements. This list of party endorsements is required by the CA election codes, according to the Secretary of State's office. The state officials now saying they will help the county solve the issue. Wednesday, it was announced there was a sudden change in leadership after Assistant Registrar of Voters Jackie St. George claimed she was removed from her post.
So I ended up having to do the walk of shame.
Even though the board had told 23 ABC earlier in the day St. George had retired. Now, with only 4 days until the primary, county officials say it's too close to the race to reprint the voter information guide. And they will now post party endorsements of candidates for voter-nominated offices at every polling place on social media, kernvote.com, and kerncounty.com. Now tonight, Bedard also released a statement saying, quote, "We deeply regret this mistake and are working quickly to resolve the issue. As soon as we confirmed the error, we began working on corrective action." But for now, live in studio, I'm Tori Cooper for 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Major changes to the way people vote has election advocates on edge as Californians cast ballots in the Democratic presidential contest and other primary races. The Super Tuesday primary in the country's most populous state comes amid changes aimed at expanding voter participation, including new voting equipment and vote centers that are replacing polling places in some counties. Officials say those changes may confuse some people. There are fears California might end up with a mess much worse than Iowa, where the Democratic Party couldn't declare a winner for several days. Arvin Police Chief Scott Kimball resigned from his position today after he was charged with a misdemeanor crime. 23 ABC's Leslie Gooden is live in front of the district attorney's office with more.
Yes, good evening. The DA's office says Kimball's actions in this case make him unfit to be chief of police. And today he entered a plea agreement and will have to pay restitution back to the city of McFarland and will remain on probation for the next 3 years. Kimball did not appear in court today, but was arraigned on a misdemeanor charge for false certificate or writing by an officer. According to the district attorney's office, in 2016, while Kimball was chief for the city of McFarland, he required officers to remodel portions of his home, costing $700, then paying them through McFarland city funds. Officials say officers were then bullied and intimidated, and it was implied if they did not do what he asked, they weren't able to keep their jobs. The DA's office say they were made aware of this back back in 2019 and later discovered that the city of McFarland's then city manager, John Wooner, was made aware of these incidents.
We got records, we looked at it, and we discovered that the McFarland city government had done an investigation themselves into this. They presented the findings to the then city manager, Mr. Wooner, who took a look at that and decided that the conduct did not rise to the level of anything that required, in his mind, discipline. We disagreed. We took a look at the information, we re-investigated it, and determined that Chief Kimball had violated the public trust, had acted in a criminal fashion, and we chose to file charges.
Zimmer says someone within the McFarland government made her office aware of the legal activity and the two officers involved.
Now, they were bullied, they were intimidated. It was implied to them that they wouldn't be able to keep their job unless they did what they did to help Scott Kimball, city manager, Mr. Wooner.
The DA's office says Kimball is required to pay $1,045 in restitution to his crimes back to the city of McFarland, which equals the timesheets paid to those officers. And the DA's office says if anyone has any similar situations, to please come forward to their office. For now, in Bakersfield, Leslie Gooden, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
The Bakersfield Police Department continues to search for leads following a deadly shooting overnight in southwest Bakersfield. According to Bakersfield police, officers responded to Pacino Court and Hartford Avenue just after 2 this morning. That's where they say officers found a man dead at the scene. BPD says the victim was outside and suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He has been identified as Carlos Giovanni Cesare. At this time, police have not released any suspect information, nor have they made any arrests. If you have any information on this case, you are asked to call Bakersfield Police at 327-7111. The California Highway Patrol receiving reports earlier today that a man was on a Greyhound bus with a weapon. However, CHP is reporting this evening that no weapons were found on the bus. CHP units responded to the incident on the Greyhound bus on southbound Highway 99 and David Road Friday morning. According to CHP, authorities received a 911 telephone call from the girlfriend of David Molina, who was a passenger on board the bus. Molina made a claim to his girlfriend that there was someone aboard the bus that was armed with a handgun. CHP located the bus and made an enforcement stop on Valparaiso Avenue west of Metler Frontage Road. All 35 passengers were safely escorted off and officers began searching the bus. No weapons were located.
Something like this is incredibly serious. When somebody reports that there's somebody with a gun, or especially having the situation which we had earlier in the month with the previous Greyhound bus situation. Of course, we're going to take these incidents extremely serious. We want everyone on board traveling our freeways and our roadway systems to be safe.
No one was injured. Molina was arrested on suspicion of being under the influence of drugs and making a false report to a police officer. This after a deadly shooting on a Greyhound bus in Kern County earlier in the month.
Today was the warmest day of the year so far here in Bakersfield. It was actually our second day of this week, beating a heat record. So a high of 83 degrees today. That old record was set back in 1926 with a high of 81 degrees. So that did make us 17 degrees above average. So yes, warmer temperatures across the county than what we were feeling this time yesterday. And that's all thanks to some cloud cover and high pressure dominating now over central California. So that is going to make temperatures overnight a tad bit warmer than yesterday. 52 as an overnight low here in Bakersfield, 49 in Lebec, and 44 in Tehachapi. So still above average tomorrow, but not quite as warm. Temperatures in the 70s as we see an increase in winds ahead of our next storm system. I have more details on just how cool we will be getting later this weekend coming up next.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus threat. A new case of the virus reported in California. This as health officials are still trying to find out how a woman in Solano County contracted the virus through community spread. ABC's Alex Perche has more from Washington.
Today, a wake-up call from the World Health Organization, raising the global risk assessment for COVID-19 to very high, but stopping short of calling it a pandemic.
We do not see evidence as yet that the virus is spreading freely in communities. As long as that's the case, we still have a chance of containing this virus.
This afternoon, the Solano County Public Health Administrator confirming to ABC News that the county has a new confirmed case of novel coronavirus. That person was under quarantine at Travis Air Force Base. They are asymptomatic and now at home in Solano County under self-quarantine. In California, authorities scouring this community to find out if COVID-19 could have spread after a Solano County woman showed up to a local hospital with flu-like symptoms. She was placed onto a ventilator, but was not tested for the virus until 4 days later.
At this point, we don't know where the patient was exposed.
On Capitol Hill, more questions following a whistleblower complaint that federal employees interacting with quarantine Americans at Travis and March Air Force bases allegedly worked without proper training or protective gear.
There were several concerns that we had. The whistleblower issue remains unresolved, at least for Travis Air Force Base and perhaps for others.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar announced this afternoon they're going to be fast-tracking the process for broader testing in a large number of labs over the next few weeks. Bedside testing, though, is something that's still months away. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Coronavirus fears sent U.S. stocks tumbling once again today. Markets opened sharply lower and losses got worse in the first hour of trading. At one point on Friday, the Dow was down nearly 1,100 points. Thursday saw the Dow's worst single-day point drop in history. The broadest measure of the stock market, the S&P 500, was down 3.3% on Thursday, while the NASDAQ Composite fell 2.6%. And Adventist Health has released a statement on the coronavirus. They wrote in part, quote, "At Adventist Health, our highest priority is the care and safety of our patients and staff. We have highly trained infection prevention practitioners who closely follow the guidelines of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Public Health Department." We'll have the full statement online on Turner23.com. We're just a day away from the South Carolina primary. Former Vice President Joe Biden is staking his campaign on a victory, while Senator Bernie Sanders solidifies his status as the national front runner. Less than 24 hours until voting opens in South Carolina, former Vice President Joe Biden has bet big on the state. He said he hopes of righting the ship after disappointing results so far. This morning, Biden claiming he's just as enthusiastic about leading the country as his opponents.
Not more lies. We need a president who stands for the truth over fiction, and facts and science over fiction.
But a new ABC News poll suggests Senator Sanders is not just the national frontrunner, but he also may be considered the most electable. 34% saying he has the best chance of beating President Trump. This morning, Sanders defended his Medicare for All plan.
You hear from Trump, you hear from everybody, it's too radical, it can't be done. Gee, it is done in every other major country on earth.
With Super Tuesday looming, just about every candidate is planning to leave South Carolina before the results come in tomorrow night. Right now, the only candidates planning to stay are Tom Steyer and Joe Biden. And 23 ABC wants to help you make an informed decision on Super Tuesday, which is this upcoming Tuesday and the day California voters go to the polls. We have information on local measures, national and local candidates, along with propositions on our website, Turner23.com.